Welcome to The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, our submission is radical. We want to announce to the nation that voter registration was a total waste of time. Literally. It changed nothing. It altered nothing. It did not take us forward. It did not take us backwards. It was just there. A total waste of national imagination. But on this, we could be dead wrong. And if we are wrong, we do not choose to be right. We expected magic from this man they call Baba. But the more things changed with this registration, the more they remained the same. And the biggest letdown was Mudavadi and Joho. According to the IEBC figures, Mudavadi was exposed as a parasite and Joho as a man whose gift is nothing but running his mouth. Consider the facts with us.
Because of Mudavadi and because of Joho, NASA has lost its chance to catch up with Jubilee. The two failed to register close to 2 million votes, and they failed to do so because they are parasites. Without Raila, NASA is nothing. In fact, Mudavadi regained his relevance not because he created NASA, but because Raila endorsed NASA. In sum, NASA, Mudavadi, and Joho are nothing but blood-sucking creatures. They are leeches that suck life out of Raila with a sense of entitlement. And this is why they each had no motivation to register the extra 2 million votes in Western and Coast. According to them, Raila will take care of the shortfall they failed to raise. Put differently, the two are nothing but spoiled political brats. They let Baba down.
What about Kalonzo? Is he also a parasite on Raila? According to historical records, Kalonzo was Raila's boss in the 2007 coalition arrangement, and this is a constitutional fact. But Raila disputed Kalonzo's supremacy at every available national moment. In fact, Raila battered Kalonzo into a position of an inferior boss. And because Kalonzo is a Baptist and a Bible-reading Christian, he succumbed to this abuse. This is how Raila became his illegal technical boss in the Kibaki years. Kalonzo, our full vice president, was bullied by Raila into believing he was inferior in form, history, and position. And in this state of inferiority complex, Kalonzo submitted to the authority of Raila. Then in 2013, Raila made a generous offer. He promised to make Kalonzo his deputy president the way Kibaki had made him his vice president. And to this useless offer, Kalonzo cried with happiness. If Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Joho are parasites who suck Raila's political blood, Raila is the parasite on Kalonzo.
Because Kalonzo is a battered man and the abusive partner in this relationship is Raila, our support is for the weak. We stand with Kalonzo. In particular, we say no to domestic violence in political households like NASA. If Kalonzo was Raila's boss in 2007, but was battered into becoming his assistant in 2013, the domestic fights have moved from the physical to the psychological. Last week, they argued that Kalonzo was about to betray Raila, and if he did it, the combination would abandon him. That was in the formal media. This week, they took the battle to the social media. They told us that Kalonzo had broken NASA, and everyone has called him a traitor. This attack on Kalonzo is meant to achieve two things. One, isolate him so that Mudavadi takes his place in opposition, and two, shock NASA into the possibility of a betrayal by Kalonzo. With this shock therapy, NASA should not be surprised if Kalonzo betrays them. Whichever path Kalonzo takes, he is cooked. And the bully here is Raila.
According to the latest IEBC figures, Jubilee gained an extra 888,000 voters, while NASA gained an extra 814,000 voters through registration. But if you subtract 800 from 800, the answer is 0. And this is why we are saying that voter registration achieved 0. Put differently, Uhuru did not win over voter registration. What actually happened is that NASA lost. And this is why I must give them unsolicited advice over this election. What they lost in registration, they must gain in voter turnout. But there are two problems here. Number one, super alliances create an illusion of early victory, and this illusion degenerates into low voter turnout. The 2002 Super Alliance under NARC attracted the lowest voter turnout in the history of our politics. Number two, high turnout is only possible if there is something to be gained. If Raila is candidate, the Luo nation will vote. If he is not, they will stay away. And the same applies to Kalonzo and Mudavadi. If they are not part of the top two, their voters will stay away. And this is the NASA dilemma. What's my point here and what's my advice then? Voter turnout can only be increased through a runoff. And this is exactly what Kalonzo is trying to force. So the NASA brigade must not fight him, in my view.
NASA is not about country. Similarly, Jubilee is not about country. NASA and Jubilee are coalitions with a vision of what country should be. We do not know which of these visions is the right one. What we know is the following. Raila is opposed to SGR, but this SGR will be in Nairobi by June this year. You cannot stop it. The trains will travel from Mombasa to Nairobi in 4 hours at a good price. If Raila is president by August, he will have to say that SGR is good. Alternatively, he will have to uproot it and get a less corrupt one. We also know a second thing. If Raila was in government and Eurobond was his project, he would make it look like a project from heaven. NYS would also be made to taste like ice cream. What is my point here? SGR is bad because it is not good. NYS is bad because it is not good. This is the Raila logic.
What about corruption? Is the country as corrupt as Raila has told us? Is this the most corrupt government since Kenya was made? In our view, this is a historical lie. In the 1990s, for instance, the Auditor General told us that about 500 billion Kenya shillings, that is 500 billion shillings, was stolen through fraud and corruption. In one particular instance, a powerful individual stole 7 billion shillings from a bank through the front door. But this was done in the Moi era. During the Kibaki-Raila regime, Raila admitted to Al Jazeera that there was corruption in his office. In fact, the World Bank cancelled a 4.3 billion shilling project for the youth because of corruption in his office. Not because Raila was corrupt, but because Kenyans are generally corrupt, and those in his office were no exception.
Sarah Elderkin sent you an email in 2011 where she described the people around you, quote, playing major roles, people who are playing major roles who are irredeemably corrupt, she said. She talked about your office staff's blatant, well-known, all over town corruption.
Yes, and this was good because she was basically blowing the whistle.
And then you sacked all those people the next day when you got the email, right?
I sacked a number of them.
Who did you sack?
Quite a number.
Who did you sack? How many sackings did you do?
Quite a number.
How many sackings did you do?
Quite a number.
When a company known as Dominion accuses Raila of corruption, you must not believe them. Accusations of corruption in government and accusations of corruption by Dominion are one and the same thing. This corruption talk is nothing but politics. If Dominion is playing politics on Raila, Raila is playing politics on government.
Now we will tie voter registration with opposition politics. Maybe Raila knows that Mudavadi and Joho are not reliable, and maybe he knows that they are big babies. If the two people he wants to make deputy president cannot register voters because they are overgrown babies, what options does Baba have? We want to submit that Raila is in a dilemma. Maybe he will win, but we doubt it. If voter registration is not in his favor, he has to execute an alternative plan. His alternative plan borrows from Nazi Germany. Disturbed by the Jews, the Nazis had to construct a narrative that opposed the existence of the Jews. Hitler convinced his followers that the Jews had a stench. They had a strong smell that no other human had. He even mobilized the Nazi scientists to study this foul body smell. Of course, he was wrong. And this is the Raila approach. If he cannot get the presidency, he will convince us that everybody has a stench. He will even get his scientists to study it. This is how he has poisoned our minds to accept negativity, to accept that government has a stench.